In today's Whiteboard Leadership Moment, I want to talk to you about meeting strategies. There are a whole lot of organizations that have all sorts of meetings, but in my experience, I see a whole lot of unnecessary meetings and a whole lot of unfocused meetings. And it's also very often to have the wrong people in the meeting as well. So I want to talk to you today about how to think through the meetings that you have. What I've got on the whiteboard is a drawing that you may have seen before in a previous whiteboard moment. I talk about a leader's energy and how there are people who are very energized by ideas and goals, and we call them visionaries. People who are motivated, energized by goals and systems, and taking those long-term, long-range goals and creating tactics and strategies around them. And I call these people implementers. And you've got those people who are the steady people, the consistent people, the steady plotting people that are systems people. They take problems and they create systems and things that happen over and over again and just maximize that, make it excellent. These we call managers. And finally, you have the group of people who are the brainstormers, the idea people, the ones, the pie in the sky dreamers. And we call these people creatives. And if you want to look back at that, it's called a leader's energy. What we realize is that certain personalities work best in certain meetings. In your church or in your organization, you always go through this progression from discussion, things we might do, to decisions, what we will do, and then actions, how we'll get there, and accountability, how are we doing in that. And you find that different personalities are good at different ones. A meeting that moves from discussion to decision is really more of a brainstorm meeting. And so you're brainstorming or you're creating. And people who are creative, people who are visionary, people who like to think about the future, who dream about what might be, are the best people in a brainstorming meeting. And you got meetings that are decisions to action meetings. And these are more strategic meetings. Strategic meetings involve people who can see the future but can also have the present. Implementers are really, really great in strategic meetings, figuring out how to go from here to there. Another kind of meeting is this, the action to accountability meeting. And this is called a management meeting. And you can guess who's best at the management meeting. Well, it's the managers, the ones who see the day-to-day, who see what needs to happen in the life of the church. All these three types of meetings, brainstorm meetings, strategic meetings, management meetings, are all essential. But the big mistake we make in church world is this, is we think everybody should be involved in every meeting. And the challenge of that is that if you're in a brainstorming meeting, if you're dreaming about the future, if you're just kind of out there and saying, what if? And then managers have a really hard time with that. They have a hard time thinking about that because they always think about the reasons why you can't do it. What about this? What about that? And they're really held back in their minds because God created them a different way than creatives and visionaries. And so as you think about brainstorming meetings, you should have creative people in those meetings. Maybe it's marketing specialists. Maybe it's entrepreneurs. Maybe it's people who are great communicators to the crowds and inspiring. And those are the kind of brainstorming people you want in a brainstorming meeting. In strategic meetings, the creatives really may get some ideas there, but you're not talking about ideas. You're trying to design a path. And really, I would encourage you that the people who are over on this side are probably not as strong in strategic meetings as they are in tactical meetings and things like that. Management meetings are meetings where it's the day-to-day grind. It's the things that have to happen over and over and over again. And creatives and visionaries just have a hard time with settling down, getting down to the ground level of things and wrestling through the essential, important, step-by-step, day-by-day plotting that have to happen. And so you want to kind of think about not having these people in that kind of meeting. Accountability is so important. And a lot of organizations have a whole lot of people talking about and dreaming a lot of dreams. They're dreaming about the future, and they may even design the path, but they're not defining reality. They're not grounded in reality. And so what I'd encourage you to do with this conversation is ask, who should be in what meeting? How should we have the meetings? By the way, the order of meetings matter. Brainstorming meetings should happen before strategic meetings. You should figure out where you're headed before you decide how you're going to get there. And these two should be before you have the management meetings. Why are you going to manage something you haven't even thought of yet? It doesn't make any sense. So think about the order of meetings in your week. At my old church, we would have our brainstorming meetings occasionally. They'd be once every 3 months or so, we'd have a brainstorming meeting about the sermon series or about the direction of the church and those kind of things. And then we would have a strategic meeting about how we were going to get there. And then finally, management meetings. Management meetings happened every single week because there's a consistency to ministry. Strategic meetings happened every once in a while, every month or so, and brainstorming meetings every 3 months. The consistency of these meetings, the order of these meetings really matters, and the constitution of these meetings, who is in the meetings, matters as well. I hope you have a great time having this conversation at your church. This has been a Converge Whiteboard Leadership Moment. To learn more about Converge or to join us, check out converge.org.